Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about all there is to know about Sarasota. We're going to talk about the real estate market, why people are still moving here, different places in Sarasota. And so if you're somebody that has actually been eyeing Sarasota, perhaps you're not sure where in Florida you want to move to, and so you're kind of just looking at this video for investigation purposes, then I think you're in the right spot, because we're going to touch on all different aspects that make Sarasota such a great place. First of all, Sarasota has grown tremendously, especially over the last 5 years. Some of it is driven by the fact that during the COVID shutdown, a lot of businesses allowed remote work to happen. The possibilities have really quadrupled for a lot of working people because they can work remote. And so why not work remote from a place that is warm almost all year round, sunny for the most part, you got palm trees and beautiful beaches if you're closer to the coast. And that's what a lot of people were thinking. Well, you know what, I'll just move down south from New York or perhaps from New Jersey or Canada because now I can. And so a lot of people were drawn to Sarasota for a lot of reasons. But first off, of course, the beaches. We're on the southwest side of Florida. Some of the most beautiful beaches can be found right here in Sarasota, Siesta Key Beach being the most famous. But outside of Siesta Key Beach, we have Nokomis Beach, the Venice beaches, Anna Maria Island beaches, Lido Key. So plenty of beaches to choose from just within a 30-minute to 45-minute driving distance. But what makes Sarasota really special beyond the beaches is the fact that we have a thriving downtown with a lot of restaurants, plenty to do in terms of theater, the arts, a few rooftop bars. When it comes to also appealing to the younger generation, I think Sarasota really has grown a lot in that category. It's just become much more vibrant over the last 10 years. A lot of folks that have actually heard about Sarasota have heard a lot of the publicity around the best beaches, Siesta Key Beach being usually the number 1 or number 2 beach in the United States, depending on the year. But also when it comes to best place to live, Sarasota was ranked many times some of the best places to live in the United States. Sometimes, depending on the year, it was named the number 1 best place to live in Florida. That's pretty telling as to how sought after Sarasota is. The population for Sarasota is a little bit harder to pinpoint, but let's just look at Sarasota County because we have publicly available information there. Sarasota County is comprised of Sarasota, Venice, Northport, and part of Longboat Key, and there's also unincorporated regions in there such as Nokomis and Osprey. And the estimated population as of 2025 is about 481,000 for Sarasota County, and over the last 5 years it's grown essentially 11%, and it just goes to show you that more and more people are becoming aware of Sarasota and they're really liking what the area has to offer. Of course, a lot of it has to do with just Florida weather, but it is an extremely beautiful place to live in. All right, well, what are the key amenities then? I always recommend that when a buyer looks to purchase or move to a place and they're not very familiar with the place, of course you're going to want to test drive it and live there for some time. But a great way, preliminary, to just decide if an area even makes sense from an amenity standpoint is to tap into TripAdvisor.com and then look at the area you're interested in. So let's just assume it's Sarasota. It'll rank all the top things to do in an area. Of course, there's also top hotels and top restaurants, but TripAdvisor.com I think does a really good job in terms of ranking all the different amenities. What amenities are in Sarasota? Well, of course, the beaches. I mean, that is essentially Sarasota's claim to fame. That's how it's all started. But now there's a lot of talk about downtown, how that's growing. There's plenty more to do than the beautiful beaches that we have. And if you're not a beach person, I must say, I don't go and tan during the day. I've done plenty of that in my 20s. But because we're in Southwest Side, we get to enjoy the sunset. And we have some of the most beautiful sunsets. Sarasota is really heavy into theater and the art scene. As a matter of fact, when it comes to southwest side of Florida, it's actually known as the arts hub. Museums, there's plenty of them, but I'll mention the Ringling Museum of Art, which is well known. It houses a world-class collection of art. If you're into the opera, there's the Sarasota Opera right downtown. The Van Wezel is our main performing arts hall, and artists, actors, groups will come from all over the world. Now, Sarasota has a lot to offer when it comes to the outdoors, outside of the beaches. We have a lot of different parks. There's one state park called Mayaca River Park. If you're downtown, it'll probably take you 25 minutes to drive to it. It's one of Florida's oldest and wildest state parks. There's also Celery Park, which is a major bird watching, and it's a hiking spot. The Oscar Sheriff State Park, which is in Osprey, and then the Legacy Trail. So for somebody who is a cyclist like myself, the Legacy Trail is now extended over 20 miles, and it runs all the way from downtown through Sarasota to Venice. So many times when I'm with customers, they tell me, look, I've seen so many videos about Sarasota. I've seen your videos, I've seen videos about Siesta Key, downtown, and I feel like I've gotten a nice impression of what those different destinations are like. But once I get to Sarasota, it's way bigger than I thought it was going to be, and there's a lot more to it. And that is absolutely true. So when we talk about Sarasota, most of the focus is going to be on the beach and downtown, because that is going to be the major draw, the major reason why people want to live here. But once you start putting all the neighborhoods together, it really becomes kind of like a puzzle piece, that once you put all the different puzzles together, neighborhoods, that will make up Sarasota, and each neighborhood will feel very different. So I don't know about you, but I've been in cities or towns where you have a downtown, and then you have residential communities, streets, neighborhoods that all kind of look very similar to each other. Here, each neighborhood is going to be distinct, will have a distinct price point, architecture, and types of homes. If we draw a line through Sarasota, you have east of Highway 75, which is younger, a lot of new construction, and west of 75, let's just call it the older Sarasota, more established. The majority of the folks that are actually calling me are from the northern part of the U.S. Some people from California, but I would say the ones that typically come here and move here, they really like the idea of being in perpetual summer. Yes, the weather here is one of the draw, but it has pros and cons, hurricane being one of the cons, and also just high humidity, and to some people, extreme heat in the summertime can be somewhat of a hassle to deal with. Just know what you're getting yourself into. It's a November day that I'm filming this video right now, and I will say that the most beautiful time to be in Florida, I mean, hands down, is just about now, going into February, March, maybe even April actually. Yeah, April. Let's talk about where Sarasota actually sits on the map and why it's really well positioned. I actually love this about Sarasota. We're right in the middle of the map on the coastal side, of course, right? Because Sarasota is in Southwest Florida. It really truly is about the coast, which will also provide you with some amazing views. But look at this. Sarasota is relatively close to St. Petersburg. That's about an hour away. Tampa, about an hour and a half away. If you wanted to go to Orlando for maybe a day trip, maybe not a day trip, maybe 2 days, easy peasy, just 2.5 hours away. St. Augustine, I actually did this last year. We went there for 3 days. That was about 4 hours away. Look at this. Naples, that's roughly 2 hours away to the south. Miami, about 4 hours away. Easy to do for just a weekend getaway, and you'll feel like you're actually on vacation. Last year I did a trip where we went to Fort Myers, we drove, and then from there we took a boat trip to Key West. Stayed there for some time. Just Sarasota to Key West, you're going to feel like you're on vacation, but you didn't have to step into a plane, and that is sometimes, very convenient. People are actually surprised that for the size of the city, we have a lot of major employers here in Sarasota, and that makes the economy very strong. And so if you're somebody that's looking to purchase into an area and you're also counting on appreciation, then you're going to want to make sure that the area offers job opportunities, even if you're somebody that's already retired. But when it comes to employment opportunities in Sarasota, plenty there, from healthcare, education, of course, tourism, construction, and professional services. Now, when it comes to cost of living, Sarasota is not going to be one of the most affordable places to move to. As a matter of fact, because We have gotten so many people that moved in here over the last 4 or 5 years. Prices have jumped up by over 50% over the last 5 years. And so the median price right now for a single family home is $525. There are going to be luxury opportunities, and there's also going to be more affordable opportunities. Property taxes, if you're looking at a Zillow listing, let's just say it's $1 million home, and you're seeing that the seller is paying $6,000 in property taxes, and you're going, yay, this is so great, this is affordable. You have to know that if you're purchasing that home, those taxes are going to reset. So if you're purchasing a home in Sarasota right now, you're going to want to expect about 1 to 1.2% of property taxes on the assessed value of the house. Probably seen a lot of the terrible headlines when it comes to the insurance costs, and yes, a lot of Floridians are dealing with extreme high costs. But just note that the costs are going to vary block by block, so to say. It really depends on the location of the house, the type of house. Is the roof new? Is it a new construction home? Is the house in an X zone, which is the preferred flood zone, or is it in an AE zone where flooding is much more likely? There are ways to keeping the homeowner's insurance costs lower if that's what you want to do. Now, if you're in an AE zone and you're going to be mortgaging, then you're going to have to get flood insurance. You won't have to get flood insurance if the house is in an X zone. But I always tell people, you know what, why not just get flood insurance? If you're in an X zone, it's not going to be that expensive, and at least it's extra peace of mind. But key takeaway here is that no, homeowners insurance costs don't have to be $10,000. They could easily be $2,000, $2,500 on an $800,000 home, for example. It really just depends on the type of house, the location it's in, and what the flood designation is. If you guys have any questions in terms of what it's like to live here, what are some of the things that you should be watching out for before moving here, what is real estate like, feel free to call me anytime. I am here to assist you guys. I can be reached via email or telephone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate you guys, and take care.